So I picked these up a while ago at a car boot sale and really were quite cheap. They're brand new and they must have come from IKEA. So you can get these cheap anyway. But I want to uplift them a little bit more so they look a bit more fun and a little bit more decorative than just being in this colour. But I've done lots of things where I've sprayed them and decorated them before, and I don't want to do that. I want to do something a little bit differently. First of all, what I'm going to do is remove these stickers here by just giving them a little bit of a coat of I'm going to peel them off. Now you can get some stuff that is designed for getting rid of these stickers, and I keep meaning to buy some, but I never seem to get round to it. So what I'm going to do is just peel these off and then add a little bit of water over the top of this, or WD-40. That normally gets it off really quickly. So I can remove these stickers. Because if I sell them or give them away, I don't want people to think that they come from IKEA and they were already done like this. So all I'm going to do is get some 99% alcohol and rub over that. Let that soak in a minute, and then they should come off. Let that soak in for 2 or 3 minutes, and then that will come straight off. So I've cleaned that one up, and that's come off really, really easily. And let me just quickly show you. All I did was went round this like this. That's come off, and now I just do a bit of clean tissue. 1 pump or 2 pumps of the alcohol just to remove any excess glue that's there, and now they're lovely and clean. I've got myself a piece of sandpaper, and this is a 220 grip because I don't want it to be making a lot of scratches. And now I'm going to go around this like this just to clean it up really, and to put a few scratches in it before I do the next stage. There we go, that should be enough. Now wipe off any dust, because there will be some come off that. And then do the same with this one. And now what I'm going to do is just prime these with some metal primer, which is fairly cheap. You get that from most hardware stores. I want to leave the bottom rim, so that rim there, and the top rim silver. So I'm not going to paint over those. And because I'm going to cover this, I'm not too worried about the quality of my brush strokes. I just want a nice even coat. So that one's covered, first coat. I'll do this one, I'll let them dry, and then I'll give them both a second coat. Well, these are both nice and dry now, and what I want to do is make a pattern so I know roughly the shape that I'm going to cut out. All I've got here is a bit of packing foam, and I'm just popping that around the outside. It doesn't have to be an exact pattern by any means. And then what I'm going to do is cut into there using my knife and cut off the excess to start with. And if you haven't got packing foam, you can do this with some paper. Okay, so now I've got my excess cut off. All I need to do is line this up really quite tight now against that edge. Bring it right the way down. I'm going to do an overlap anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. And now I'm going to trim this off in the same way to get the right size. So now I've got my pattern. All I need to do is double check it. Yeah, and that's roughly right. And now what I can do is cut out my designs that I'm going to put on here. I've got 3 napkins that I haven't really used before. I quite like that one, but it's showing a lot of white. I really like this one, and I think it would be ideal for a bathroom or somewhere like that. And this is just a napkin. And I love this. I just think it's quirky and comical. So I've decided to go with this one and this one. Now what I need to do is make sure that I've got this up the right side. And so this bit here, the shorter length, is the bottom of my pattern. I'm going to have to open a new napkin. And I want to make sure that I'm getting as much of this design in there as I possibly can. I want to make sure I get all the heads and things rather than tails and things like that. Yeah, I quite like where that is positioned now. So what I'm going to do is cut that napkin approximately to the size, but definitely to the shape of this, using a nice sharp blade. Taking it slowly as I go. You could cut this out with a pair of scissors. Probably be a sight easier. So let's have a look and see how that fits on there now. Doesn't have to fit on there perfectly because we can trim it up afterwards. But that does seem to fit on there really nicely now. And I've got whole fish, whole seahorses, and everything running in there. And this is where I can neaten up my edges or leave them frayed if I want. using my scissors. So it's got 3 layers, 2 white and then the picture on there. And I would normally take that off a decoupage, but I'm not going to for this. I want it to have that thicker feel to it. And now I'm going to cut out the same for this. And this is a very different type of paper. This is tissue paper, and this is going to cut nice and neat using this pattern. But you still need to be very careful with it. So if you want to, you can go around with scissors like this. Cut your pattern out, because it will rip very easily. And there we go, that one fits on there lovely as well. And I'm going to be using Mod Podge for this. And I've added a little bit of water to my Mod Podge for 2 reasons. 1, I'm getting very low on it and I haven't ordered any more. And 2, I do like it a little bit thinner than what it comes in here. So all I'm going to do is paint my Mod Podge on here to start with. And this will take a few minutes to dry. I'm making sure I'm covering it fully in Mod Podge around where I want it. There we go. So that's covered. And now what I'm going to do is push my tissue paper under that rim, going all the way around until I get to that end. Now, I don't mind if there's crinkles in it at all, because I quite like that crinkled look when you've got decoupage like this. So I'm now going to go over that where I've got the seam, run that across there, that back a bit to about there. Fray this off now, or you can cut a nice neat line. I don't need it to be that deep. And now what I'm going to do is go over all of the layers very gently. You could do this with a sponge if you wanted to. Go gently because you don't want to mark your napkin paper. And push all that right down. Be really gentle with this bit because it's so easy with this type of paper to rip it or make a hole in it. I'm going all the way around, getting rid of any bubbles if there's any trapped bubbles in there. I'm not worried about this edge yet because I can tidy this bit up once it's all lovely and dry, and I'll show you how to do that. It's really, really easy. So now I've got that done, what I'm going to do is just go around here, this rim here, and push everything under that rim. There we go, and then I'm going to let that dry. And now I'm going to do the same approach with this one, but with tissue paper. Again, I don't mind if this has got crinkles in it at all. I like it crinkled. If it's your first time doing decoupage, then I would suggest this is the best type of paper rather than the napkin paper to use to start with, because it's a little bit more forgiving. So there we go, we got that on there. Now I'm going to pull that back, give that a nice neat trim. And now I'm going to paint over this again with the Mod Podge. See what I mean about this being much more forgiving of a paper than the napkin. You wouldn't be able to push this hard on the napkin to flatten out your wrinkles. It would just rip and tear. It's a really soft tissue. Make sure there's no bubbles in it anywhere. Now, if you haven't got decoupage paper, you can use wallpaper, you can use pages out of a book, you can use pages out of a colouring book, but just make sure whatever you're using is colour fast, because you don't want to be painting your Mod Podge over it and then all of a sudden all your colours are running. I think that looks quite cute already. So we'll let that dry and then I'll show you how I'm going to finish them. These are all dried and I've got a couple of steps now that I want to do to finish these off. Firstly, I'm going to trim off this decoupage here that is up to this edge, and all I'm going to do is run around that with my knife. Now this is because it's gone nice and hard, there is not much likelihood of this ripping now. So all I need to do is carefully go around that, and as you can see that will pull away from there. And then if I need to trim a little bit more, I can always go in and trim a little bit more. And because we didn't put any glue on this bit of the metal or prime it, then this paper isn't going to stick to that. See how much neater that is by doing it like that? So there we go, that's that done, and it's already neat around there, and these ones I managed to do anyway. Now you could leave them like this and just seal them, but I'm not going to do that. I've got some of this twine here, and I want to put a couple of rings of this going round on here, and all I'm going to be using for this is a hot glue gun. So I'm going to put a bit of hot glue on here like that, and then start off my twine and push it right up close to that rim. I'm only going to do 2 rings, I think, of the hot glue, but then I could easily change my mind. I'm using my cordless hot glue gun here because I love it. It's so much easier and it heats up so much quicker. I'll link this one in the description below. They're not expensive and I have it on charge all the time, so it's ready for when I want to use it. It heats up in about 14-15 seconds. Now, I'm not going to start the next round right now. I'm going to trim that off there. and push that in there like that, and then start the next one off in the same place. And then I'll do the same for the bottom, pushing that up close to that. And then once I've done those, I'll show you how I'm going to seal them. Now that they're all dry and I've got my twine on there, what I'm going to do is go over it with a gloss varnish. I know we've got the Mod Podge on there, and that will give it a little bit of a seal, but what I want to do is have a really nice gloss finish to it, but also a gloss finish on these bits of twine that I've put on as well. So what I'm doing, as I'm going round, I'm not only painting it on the tissue paper, but I'm also painting it on this twine. I'll probably give it 2 coats of this gloss varnish going round, and then once that's all dry, I can show you how they look. I think they're looking great now. Well, these are all dry now, and I think they've come out lovely, and they're all nice and sealed. I put 2 coats of the varnish on there. They look so much better than they did when they were just plain silver. Putting the string on as well also really helps. That sets it off a little bit more. And they're nice and glossy as well now, so they could be wiped down if any water got on them. You could pop plants in them, or you could put sand in them, or anything really that you wanted to. I will probably pop these on my next craft fair, put some dirt in them, and put some succulents that we've grown as well. They've probably, in total, once they've got the succulents in, it'll probably cost me £1, and I'll probably sell them for about £8 each. I hope you've enjoyed that. It really is easy just to upscale something and make it look very, very pretty. If you've enjoyed that, be sure to check out the video that I've got coming up next, a great upcycle. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your crafting. Take care. Bye.